2 months. That's exactly how long we have until Monsters and Memories enters early access. And every time that date gets mentioned, the same question comes up. Is the game ready? I think we're asking the wrong question. The question isn't whether Monsters and Memories is finished. We already know it isn't. The real question is, does it have enough game to be worth buying on October 1st? Before we can judge Monsters and Memories, we have to agree on what early access actually means. Early access is not version 1.0. It's not a finished MMORPG, and it is definitely not the polished, seamless experience many players expect from a finished game. Early access simply means purchasing an unfinished game while it is still actively being developed right in front of your eyes. The goals here are pretty straightforward. Help fund continued development so the team can keep the lights on and the code flowing. Gather real player feedback so they can tweak class mechanics, improve crafting, and balance the world. You know what? Basically, it just means continue building the game alongside the community in real time. So if you are logging in on October 1st expecting a completely finished, flawless MMORPG, you are setting yourself up for a massive disappointment before you even make it past character creation. Is Monsters and Memories finished? No, not even close. Systems are still being built, balance changes hit on a regular basis. There are bugs. So many bugs. And there's an entire roadmap of features meant for post-launch. And that's why I don't think the question is whether the game is finished. The real question is there enough game here to justify charging $15 a month? I've been part of the closed beta since the first week of April. I've played every single week for the past 4 months. And I've got to say, I still haven't run out of things to do. In fact, unless I suddenly discover a secret stash of free time hiding in my closet, I don't think I'll finish everything that's already available before October 1st. And remember, that is before we even consider all the content the developers have intentionally kept locked away from beta testers. That tells me that there is already a substantial, deep, and fleshed out amount of game here, and we've barely scratched the surface. So what exactly will be available when early access launches? First, every class planned for early access will be playable from day 1. On top of that, you have 9 playable races: humans, dwarves, halflings, gnomes, deep gnomes, wood elves, deep elves, goblins, ogres. I mean, that's a healthy lineup for an indie MMORPG entering early access. But characters need a world to explore. Players will begin their journey in one of 4 cities, depending on their race, faith, and alignment. There's Night Harbor, the massive western port city many of us have already seen during testing. Beneath it lies the Underdocks, a rough underground port that serves as a gateway to the deep. To the north sits Felindrel, a beautiful city in the trees and home of the Wood Elves. And far beneath Califrey is, I'm gonna say this one wrong, Aelvorith? We'll go with Aelvorith. Aelvorith, the dark capital of the Deep Elves. When people hear early access, they sometimes picture one town and a handful of quests. That's not really what we're looking at here. Now, here's the important part. Is Monsters and Memories worth buying? That depends entirely on what kind of player you are. If you enjoy watching games evolve, if you don't mind bugs, if you like giving feedback, if you're excited about helping shape an old school MMORPG, I think you'll probably have a great time. But if you are expecting a polished, feature-complete MMO, if bugs immediately ruin your experience, if you only enjoy finished products, then honestly, I recommend waiting, and that is okay. early access isn't meant for everyone. Now, recently, Shawn responded to someone asking whether Monsters and Memories was ready for early access. One thing I appreciated was how honest his response was. He didn't promise perfection, he didn't pretend every concern would be addressed before launch. In fact, he openly acknowledged that many things still need work. He also pointed out something that's easy to forget. This isn't a studio with hundreds of developers and a massive budget. It's a small, volunteer team building an MMORPG over many years with limited resources. He even said something that really stood out to me. He acknowledged that the project could fail, because statistically, most games do, especially MMORPGs. But they're building the game they originally set out to make anyway, and if someone doesn't think it's ready yet, his advice was simple. Wait. Come back later, there's nothing wrong with that. What I've always liked about Monsters and Memories isn't that it's perfect, because it isn't. It's that the team has been remarkably transparent. They've shown unfinished systems, they've let thousands of people play the game for free, they've talked openly about limitations, they've never tried to convince people the game is something it isn't. That doesn't mean the game deserves a free pass. It absolutely should be judged once people are paying for it. But I do think it's fair to judge it as an indie early access MMORPG and not as a finished AAA release. Alright, is Monsters and Memories actually ready for early access? Personally, I think yes. Not because it's finished, because it isn't, but because I genuinely believe there is already enough content, enough depth in the systems, enough world to explore, and enough of the actual game here to justify calling it early access instead of keeping it trapped in some closed beta loop. Will everyone agree with me? No, obviously. It's the internet. People will start a holy war in general chat over a 0.5% movement speed adjustment. But I do think some players should absolutely hold off and wait 6 months. And others, y'all might just want to wait all the way until version 1.0. And that is a completely reasonable decision. But if you've been following this project because you want to watch an authentic old school MMORPG grow from the ground up, I think October 1st is going to be a real good time. Until next time, keep exploring, and I'll see you in the next world.